It's something that I don't completely ignore, but it's not something I take, completely to heart. I'm concentrating very much on my...
Windsor Castle has sheltered British monarchs for nearly a millennium, surviving wars, revolutions, and relentless public scrutiny. Built to withstand threats rather than escape them, the castle has long symbolized stability and endurance. So when Prince William and Catherine stepped away from the estate, the silence surrounding their departure spoke louder than any official announcement. No emergency was declared, yet it was clear that security measures had shifted, and in the modern monarchy, such urgency rarely appears without reason. What then forced this sudden change, and what was discovered behind Windsor's walls? Not long ago, a deeply unsettling development reportedly unfolded at Windsor, one so serious that William and Catherine were compelled to leave, setting off questions and speculation about the shocking discovery that led to their departure. They left the residence under circumstances never meant to become public. This was not a planned departure or a private family decision, but a response to something discovered behind closed doors, something that instantly changed the atmosphere inside one of the monarchy's most secure spaces. According to sources familiar with the situation, the discovery was unexpected and troubling enough to trigger internal protocols. Normal routines were disrupted, staff movement was restricted, and within a short period of time, William and Catherine were advised to leave Windsor altogether, with no public explanation given. What makes the situation particularly disturbing is the speed at which events unfolded. One moment everything appeared normal, and the next, departure became necessary. This sudden shift has raised urgent questions about what was found, who was aware of it, and why immediate action was required. Reports later identified a 34-year-old man, Marson Jask from Brent in northwest London, who had broken into Windsor after travelling by train from Camden. Security cameras spotted him at the perimeter before he briefly disappeared from view, then reappeared on the grounds around noon, where he was seen speaking with a female resident before briefly entering the property through an open door. Jake, who works in construction, managed to walk around the grounds for 40 minutes before officers apprehended him. Upon searching him, they found a small white bag, and Jake admitted to having taken cocaine, although he claimed to only use it very occasionally. Despite the personal nature of the incident, it was serious enough for William and Catherine to leave Windsor, at least temporarily. However, the true reason for their departure was never disclosed. For senior royals to leave under such pressure suggests that whatever was uncovered deeply challenged assumptions of safety, privacy, or trust. And when these assumptions are shaken, the consequences ripple far beyond the walls of Windsor. As the palace remains silent, the focus now shifts to the larger implications. Why was departure the only viable response? Who was informed and who wasn't? And just how serious must a discovery be to override every instinct for discretion? Because if William and Catherine were truly forced to leave, then what was it that was uncovered? There's clearly something the palace isn't ready to explain. The departure from Windsor did not follow any usual pattern. There was no scheduled movement, no advanced notice to staff outside of a very small circle, and no visible preparations that would suggest a routine change of residence. Instead, the decision unfolded abruptly, driven by information that dramatically altered the course of events. Priorities in real time. Those close to palace operations described the atmosphere as measured, but urgent calm, yet unmistakably serious. Windsor Castle operates under layered security and long-established protocols, meaning any discovery capable of prompting the immediate relocation of senior royals must meet a very high threshold. This wasn't a matter of comfort or convenience, but rather a response to potential risk, whether physical, procedural, or reputational, that required distance before a full assessment could take place. According to familiar sources with insight into internal processes, the discovery emerged during routine internal checks that unexpectedly expanded. What began as a standard review quickly escalated when something inconsistent appeared, something that didn't belong, didn't align, or didn't match established records. The nature of this inconsistency has not been disclosed, but the response indicates it was serious enough to override the usual instinct for discretion that governs royal movements. Within minutes, internal communication became more focused, with only essential personnel being briefed. Staff were instructed to continue with their regular duties, but access to specific areas was quietly restricted. This dual approach, a mix of routine continuity and quiet caution, showed just how critical the situation had become. A calm exterior, a controlled interior that's typical of how the palace manages crises. The goal is to keep things from becoming too visible, while still maintaining the flexibility needed to respond to a rapidly evolving situation. William and Catherine were reportedly informed directly, without any intermediaries, and that choice alone speaks volumes about the gravity of the situation. When information bypasses layers of protocol and reaches senior royals immediately, it suggests that the decision space is limited and time becomes a crucial factor. Distance, in this case, becomes a precautionary measure. Their departure wasn't described as an evacuation, but rather as a removal, a subtle but important distinction. Evacuation implies imminent danger, while removal implies prevention. It suggests that, although there wasn't an active threat, staying in Windsor could have complicated the assessment or response. In these types of situations, stepping away can often be the safest course of action. The timing of their departure matters as well. Windsor Castle has long been associated with routine family life, particularly for William and Catherine. It's a place of stability, a sanctuary away from the relentless pressure of central London. Choosing to leave that environment disrupts a well-established rhythm, and such disruption is not undertaken lightly. So, what was the palace's response? Inside the palace, the focus reportedly shifted toward containment, keeping things under control, rather than concealing them altogether. Control of the information flow became paramount, ensuring that only necessary details reached the right people at the right time. Control of narrative exposure and control of operational response. When discoveries intersect with security, trust, or the integrity of a space, investigation takes precedence over immediate explanation. It is noteworthy that no reassurance was offered right away. In previous situations involving more benign issues, brief statements were quickly issued to calm public speculation. This time, however, silence prevailed. Silence here does not imply confusion, it implies deliberation. The words being considered carry weight, and their consequences are still being assessed. Naturally, speculation has turned to the nature of the discovery. While security-related explanations have been suggested, so have procedural irregularities and internal breaches. The palace has offered no guidance, and this absence has only widened the scope of interpretation. However, often the most disruptive findings are not the sensational ones. They are structural. Structural issues challenge entire systems rather than individuals, raising questions about oversight, reliability, and assumptions that have gone unexamined. Addressing them requires space, time, and reduced exposure. In cases like this, removing senior figures from the environment under review is a standard step during assessments. For William and Catherine, the personal impact of such a decision is significant. Their public roles demand composure and steadiness, but moments like this inevitably intrude on their private life. Sources indicate that their response was calm, cooperative, and focused on minimizing disruption for those around them. That composure, however, should not be mistaken for ease. Abrupt changes like these create ripples far beyond the immediate response, and navigating them requires careful thought and restraint. Departures carry emotional weight, especially when explanations cannot be shared. The children's routines were reportedly protected as much as possible, a priority that required careful coordination and discretion. This ensured that changes appeared seamless to those not directly involved. Such an emphasis on continuity reinforces the idea that the decision was precautionary rather than reactive. Within palace operations, investigators reportedly began parallel assessments. One track focused on the discovery itself, its origin, scope, and implications, while the other focused on the process of how it surfaced, who encountered it, and what safeguards might need strengthening. This dual-track approach allowed for a response without making assumptions. Observers note that Windsor's symbolic importance heightens sensitivity. Discoveries in such spaces carry institutional weight that goes beyond immediate concern. They prompt reflection on systems that were thought to be settled. While this reflection can be uncomfortable, it is a necessary part of ensuring the long-term integrity of the monarchy. Public reaction has remained contained largely because information is still limited. The absence of dramatic language has prevented the situation from escalating, even as curiosity grows. This careful balance appears intentional. The palace seems determined to avoid fueling speculation while ensuring that a thorough response is made. What happens next will depend on the findings, not the headlines. If the issue proves to be contained and resolved, life will likely return to normal quietly. However, if the discovery reveals deeper, more concerning issues, adjustments may be made subtle, procedural changes that may not be immediately visible to the public. Either way, the decision to leave Windsor will likely be remembered as the moment when the need for assessment took precedence over the appearance of normalcy. It's also worth noting that forced departures in a royal context are rarely taken lightly. Rare. When such departures occur, they often mark inflection points, not necessarily crises, but moments of recalibration. They signal that something previously assumed to be stable requires re-examination. For now, the story is defined more by absence than revelation. Absence of detail, absence of reassurance, and absence of return. These absences are not empty. They serve as space for understanding yet to be formed. Until clarity emerges, the palace is likely to maintain this posture of controlled movement, limited communication, and focused inquiry. William and Catherine's departure from Windsor, unsettling as it may seem, fits within this pattern. It is not an ending, but a deliberate, protective, and telling pause. As William and Catherine settled away from Windsor, tension inside the palace reportedly intensified rather than eased. Their departure did not signal the end of concern. It marked the beginning of intense scrutiny. With senior royals removed from the environment, investigators were afforded the space to work without pressure, expectation, or the symbolic presence of the couple influencing outcomes. That separation alone suggests the discovery demanded clarity before reassurance could be provided. Sources describe a phase of internal lockdown that was precise rather than dramatic. Specific areas within Windsor were isolated, records were reviewed, access logs examined, and staff movements cross-checked. None of this required public disruption, but each step was critical to ensuring that the response was thorough, controlled, and measured. It required time during which senior figures could not reasonably remain nearby. This methodical approach suggests that the discovery challenged assumptions rather than triggering immediate alarms. In royal operations, assumptions are powerful. They govern trust, access, and routine. When something undermines those assumptions, the response is not panic, it is verification. If Windsor is meant to be untouchable, how did someone already gain entry? And how many times might it have happened before? The 2024 break-in illustrates the stakes. Last month, intruders broke into the grounds of Windsor Castle and stole 2 vehicles, marking a significant security breach at the sprawling royal estate west of London. The castle serves as the primary residence of Prince William, his wife Catherine, and their 3 children. Reports indicate that the family was believed to be at home during the incident, while King Charles III and Queen Camilla, who also frequently stay at Windsor, were not present. Thames Valley Police confirmed they received a report of a burglary on Crown Estate land shortly before midnight on October 13th. The intruders scaled a fence at Shaw Farm, an active farm located on the estate, entered a farm building, and stole a black Isuzu pickup truck along with a red quad bike. No arrests have been made, and the investigation is ongoing. According to reports, the intruders then used the stolen truck and quad bike to crash through a farm gate on their way out of the estate, a gate located roughly a 5-minute drive from Adelaide Cottage, where William and Catherine reside with their children. Both Buckingham Palace and Kensington Palace, where William and Catherine maintain offices, declined to comment on the incident, in line with their long-standing policy of not discussing security matters publicly. Authorities have emphasized that there is no suggestion the prince or his family were in direct danger. Adelaide Cottage, one of several residences on the 16,000-acre Windsor estate used by members of the royal family, is protected by its own security arrangements. While this burglary was serious, it is considered less severe than a previous security breach at Windsor Castle on Christmas Day in 2021, when police confronted a man dressed in black, wearing a metal face mask, and wielding a crossbow. The man, later identified as Jaswant Singh Chah, had declared his intent to kill the Queen, and was subsequently sentenced to 9 years in prison after being convicted of treason in February 2023, the first such conviction in Britain in over 4 decades. Windsor Castle has long served as a refuge for William and, especially, Catherine. In March 2024, Catherine publicly revealed she had been diagnosed with an undisclosed form of cancer. Although she has since returned to occasional public duties, she has primarily remained at Adelaide Cottage. The couple relocated there in 2022 from Kensington Palace, seeking a more private and secure environment in which to raise their family. The castle and its surrounding estate have been central to maintaining that balance of family life and royal duty. And its surrounding estate have also served as residences for other senior royals. Prince Harry and his wife Meghan lived on the Windsor estate in Frogmore Cottage until 2023, when King Charles requested they vacate the property following a public rift with the royal family. Security breaches like the recent theft highlight the challenges of maintaining safety at historic estates that function both as public landmarks and private residences. While such intrusions cause disruption, palace officials emphasize that the royal family's security arrangements are robust and precautionary measures are in place to ensure their well-being. The incident underscores the importance of ongoing vigilance, especially at estates that combine operational, residential, and ceremonial functions across expansive grounds. Despite these breaches, the royal family continues to prioritize both security and privacy. Measures implemented after previous incidents, including structural reviews of access points, increased patrols, and layered security protocols, have strengthened protection while allowing family life at Windsor to continue with minimal public interference. Estate security teams continue to assess vulnerabilities and implement preventative measures, balancing operational needs with the family's desire for a private and relatively normal daily routine. For William and Catherine, the Windsor estate remains not just a residence, but a sanctuary for their children, offering stability during periods of personal challenge. While incidents like the recent break-in are serious, the family's focus remains on safety, continuity, and maintaining an environment in which their children can grow up protected and as close to ordinary life as possible, even within the unique context of royal duty. Although this incident raised concerns, it was not considered as severe as some previous breaches. Yet it reinforces the need for constant vigilance, alarming as the one that endangered the Queen herself, the near-deadly break-in of 2021. In one of the most serious breaches of royal security in recent history, Jaswant Singh Chahal, a 21-year-old man from Southampton, entered the grounds of Windsor Castle on Christmas Day 2021 carrying a loaded crossbow and intending to kill Queen Elizabeth II. The incident sent shockwaves through both the palace and the public, exposing vulnerabilities even at one of Britain's most heavily protected residences. Chahal, who was of Indian heritage, had carefully planned the intrusion. He wore dark clothing and a metal mask inspired by characters from the Star Wars franchise, which he strongly identified with. In the days leading up to the breach, he recorded a WhatsApp video addressed to family and friends in which he apologized for his planned actions and adopted a fictional villain persona, framing his intentions as revenge for the 1919 Amritsar massacre, an event he believed had never been adequately addressed. Investigators later revealed that before targeting the royal family, Chahal had attempted to join the armed forces in hopes that military service might bring him closer to members of the monarchy. When those efforts failed, he chose a more direct path. Court findings also showed that he was not acting in isolation, having created and interacted with an artificial intelligence chatbot through which he sought validation and encouragement for his plans, further underscoring the complex and disturbing nature of the case. The AI chatbot responded in ways Chahal interpreted as supportive, praising his determination and reinforcing the feasibility of his plot, even though Queen Elizabeth II was at Windsor Castle at the time. This interaction highlighted the troubling role technology played in his radicalization, giving him what he perceived to be an ally in pursuing his plans. During his trial at the Old Bailey, mental health experts testified about his psychological state. Psychiatrist Dr. Nigel Blackwood explained that Chahal had immersed himself in a Star Wars fantasy world, identifying with powerful Sith Lords he believed could influence real-world events. Despite the intensity of these fantasies, Chahal remained grounded in reality and understood the consequences of his actions, a distinction that proved crucial in court because it showed his intent was deliberate rather than the result of psychosis. Chahal admitted to threatening the Queen and possessing a loaded crossbow, and prosecutors described the offences as extremely serious, potentially warranting the maximum sentence for treason. Although he did not physically raise the weapon toward the Queen, a step that would have constituted high treason and carried a possible life sentence. The severity of his actions was clear. The court emphasized the grave national security risk had the breach escalated, noting that any confrontation with the monarch could have had profound consequences. In sentencing, Justice Hilliard underscored the seriousness of Chahal's intentions, stating that he harbored homicidal thoughts and acted on them consciously before any psychotic episode emerged, making clear that his objective was not merely to frighten the sovereign but to end her life. Apologies to King Charles III and the royal family were taken into account in court, but they did not reduce the seriousness of the danger Chahal had posed. His legal team noted his embarrassment and shame over the distress he caused, as well as his relief that no one was injured and his insistence on surrendering peacefully when confronted. These factors contributed to the court's decision to impose a hybrid sentence. Chale would initially serve time in a psychiatric hospital before being transferred to conventional custody following treatment under the Mental Health Act. The case represents a rare and extreme security breach at Windsor Castle. While there had been previous intrusions, this one stood out due to the combination of careful planning, intent, and the use of technology to reinforce violent ideation. The incident prompted immediate reviews of palace security, demonstrating that even highly controlled environments remain vulnerable to determined individuals. Palace officials emphasized the importance of layered security, rapid response, and adaptable internal protocols, particularly when senior royals are present. The question that lingered after the breach was why William and Catherine had to leave Windsor even after the immediate crisis had passed. For one, they are the future King and Queen of England, and their safety is paramount, especially considering Catherine's recent recovery from surgery. The Princess of Wales had been hospitalized for 13 days following a planned abdominal surgery on January 16, 2024, in London. Kensington Palace subsequently released a statement confirming she would not resume public duties until after Easter, emphasizing her wish to maintain normalcy for her children and keep her personal medical details private. Despite this notice, Catherine's absence sparked speculation online, as fans and media wondered about the nature of her surgery and why she had been out of the public eye for so long. Paparazzi managed to capture only 2 photos of her since her last public appearance on Christmas Day 2023, one in early March with her mother, and another leaving Windsor Castle with Prince William on March 11th. On that same day, she issued a rare personal apology regarding an edited photo of her children released by Kensington Palace for Mother's Day, which had been manipulated and subsequently retracted by news agencies. To finally addressed the speculation about her health. Catherine released a short video on March 22nd via the social media platform X. She explained that while her condition was initially thought to be non-cancerous, post-surgery tests revealed cancer. She also revealed that she is in the early stages of preventive chemotherapy for an unspecified form of cancer. Kensington Palace confirmed that she will return to official duties only once her medical team clears her to do so. In response, Prince William temporarily suspended his public duties, showing support and care for his wife during her treatment and recovery. During his wife's hospitalization and initial recovery, Prince William temporarily scaled back his public duties. After Catherine's surgery, he resumed engagements starting February 7th and has continued attending events, reassuring the public that the Princess of Wales was recovering well. However, even a working royal who has recently left the hospital does not need the added stress of security breaches. Yet there was a deeper reason for their departure from Windsor: the protection of their children. Prince William and Princess Catherine are devoted parents to 3 children. Prince George, 11, Princess Charlotte, 9, and Prince Louis, 6. Although the children occasionally appear at high-profile public events, their private lives are carefully shielded from the spotlight. The family enjoys vacations and outings, including ballet performances, trips to Lapland and various festivals, but photographs of informal family moments are not published, reflecting a long-standing privacy policy. This commitment to privacy echoes the approach taken by their late mother, Princess Diana, who sought to provide William and Harry with moments of normalcy despite their royal status visiting McDonald's, theme parks, and movie theaters. Iconic photographs from these outings remain well remembered today. To ensure a similar, protected childhood for George, Charlotte, and Louis, William and Catherine have established clear boundaries with the media. In 2015, Kensington Palace requested that unauthorized photos of the children not be published, marking an important step in safeguarding their private life. The couple also began a tradition of official holiday photos taken personally by Catherine, allowing the family to share intimate, natural moments without relying on outside photographers. The children gradually begin to participate in public events, such as attending the European Football Championship and Wimbledon. They are learning social skills and public behavior in preparation for future royal responsibilities. Throughout, William and Catherine prioritize their children's education and normal upbringing over royal duties. In a November 2025 interview in Cape Town, Prince William emphasized that their school schedules come first, with royal engagements taking a secondary role, and expressed hope that Catherine might be more involved in family trips in the coming year. The decision to leave Windsor reflects this deep commitment to their children's safety and privacy. It raises questions about whether Windsor can truly be considered safe and whether the choice was the right one. But it underscores the lengths William and Catherine are willing to go to protect their family.